Welcome to another episode of The Velvet Hammer.
And here we go.
Okay, here we go. Pros and cons of working remotely.
Yeah, I don't like it. I really don't. This is, okay, I'm going to be the one that's going to be, people are going to hate me for saying this.
Well, not everyone.
Well, I mean, just the whole thing, like, the pandemic was serious, and people had to stay home for a while. But now it's like, everybody now wants to stay home. Like, everything is Zoom this, Zoom that, court, work, and I'm done with it. I'm done with it. I'm done with it.
You want to deal with the traffic every day.
No, I want to see human beings. I want to see the hustle and bustle, the moving, the interaction.
You've got the New York in you there.
Yeah, I want the people. I want the people. What is this? Everybody's in the Zooms. It's I don't like it. I'm done with it, Karen.
You're anti-Zoom?
No, well, then you know what? Liquidate all the real estate. Just make gardens. Get rid of everything. Just make gardens, and let's start drilling for oil down at Pioneer Square.
You're spinning out, Mo.
I am spinning out. Okay, I'll unspin. Okay, what do you got? What do you got? Because you're a virtual everything.
I went to my first in-person deposition last Friday.
Hallelujah! I was so happy that happened to you because you're so against them.
I put my backpack on. I walked from my house to the Columbia Center.
Yes.
I got to the elevator. I needed to get to the 20th floor, which was the lowest elevator bank that you could get almost in that building. I hit the button. I got inside. I hit the button, and nothing happened. A guy got in, and I said, "These are locked, aren't they?" He said, "Yep." So I went up to his floor, which was 21. Then I drove back down to 0, and I got out. When I got out, there came Levi Bendeley, one of the defense lawyers, and his client. Also there was one of the interpreters.
Yeah.
And everyone was looking around. They had tried to talk to the information desk, but they couldn't figure it out. I then called Kristen and said, "We can't get up. You need to tell them to come down and get us." So we sat there talking, me involuntarily, because, you're having to make chit-chat with people that you don't really want to talk to.
Yeah.
And then finally the person comes down and she says, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And I'm looking at her like, "You guys wanted this in person at this office?" Which they did. They insisted, have to be in person. She then put us in the elevator. We went back up to the 20th floor. We got there, and it's a lockout room. And she said, "Okay, the bathrooms are in here, but you can't come out of this room into this floor for any other reason because there was no staff on site. The staff aren't there, so they can't unlock, they can't push the unlock the door button when you need to get out of that room." So she unlocked that door so we could get inside into the empty reception area with no staff. And then we went back to the deposition room where people were still set it up. In fact, the court reporter wasn't there yet. We would learn later that she couldn't find parking and was very frazzled. We then get in there, and I'm like, "Well, where's the water? Where's a water pitcher?" So one of them says, "Oh, you need water?" I said, "Yep." So she goes and gets a water pitcher, one of the lawyers, and brings some paper cups. All of us get water, so there's no more water. So then she has to go get another pitcher of water.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the court reporters come in. One of the interpreters came up with us. The other one still not there. The video guy can't quite figure out whatever, this and that. A second interpreter shows up. We're now all in there. I'm at the other end because it's the witnesses at the end, and then there's two interpreters, her lawyer, and then they have me at the end of the table by the videographer. On the other side is Janae, and I forgot the name of the other attorney from the city.
Hold on, why are there two interpreters?
Because they have to pass off every 15 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know where they come from, because when you get a court interpreter, you have to pick from an approved pool up and down the West Coast. So it's 20 minutes late by the time we start the deposition. Court reporter is very frazzled. She came in late. They like to normally get there 15 minutes behind. She stops the deposition after about 5 minutes and says, I can't hear, because she's underneath a blowy thing that's making a whole lot of noise and she can't hear enough. So that is how we start the deposition.
And what are your thoughts about all this?
This is ridiculous.
Ridiculous?
And here's
why
my
is it ridiculous?
No. Here's my thoughts on depositions. Number one, I normally do my clients, the defendant, and key people that I want to do because I'm gonna do them in trial and I want to check them out. So it was never a question if I would go do this. I was here and I went and did it. My second thought is, I'm never doing this when I'm in Hawaii and New York. I won't be here, so I'm not going to do it. They're going to have to let me attend by Zoom, or Mo's going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Number three, this is a stupid waste of time. I think and by the way, while this is going on, I'm like Instagramming. I had the art on really bad art, by the way, ugly art on the walls of the city attorney's office. I went to the bathroom. I drank some water. I walked up and down the halls. I looked out at the view, which was okay, but they had these shades down. I took some pictures. And on my Instagram, I was just like, this is the stupidest thing to come here and be in person and do a deposition. I don't know if you read it.
I did read it.
It was an ongoing commentary about how dumb this all was. And then I came back and I was a good girl and I attended the deposition. But my thoughts are, it's just the power. It's just as good to attend a deposition by Zoom. And the reason why I resent being in person is because of the resources it takes for people to attend a deposition by Zoom, by in person. All of us had to, I walked, but everyone else had to figure out how to park. And it's like $50 or $60 a day at Columbia Center, and not much less for 2 or 3, in this case, 4 hours. It's just a waste. It's a waste of time for a deposition to not be by Zoom. Also, kill me now, but by Zoom, you have to have everything electronic. So it all goes up there, like the exhibits. They were handing out freaking pieces of paper. Mike's laughing because he knows, like, I'm allergic to paper. I don't want to touch it.
Not just that. It's not just you. That's like, these days, it amazes me when people do stuff like that. I mean, unless you're giving them something that they need to write something on during the deposition, there's no reason for that.
But you can still have them do it on Zoom. They can still.
Oh yeah, you can still do it that way on Zoom.
And then there's a videographer too, right? There's a court reporter, and instead of a Zoom where you can push the button.
Yeah, the court reporter is an AI program that does a transcript, and you're videoing everything already. So,
well, in Zoom, in all fairness, we still have to have a court reporter.
Oh, you do?
Because the court requires it. I don't know how long that union
won't
is going to keep going.
That won't be for that much longer, though.
The court reporter union is strong, but they're going to be in real trouble.
Oh yeah, they're not going to be able to survive it.
So, look at Mo's gone. I think that that's different than what it feels like in the office. I do agree that not having a vibrant office is kind of sad, and I also agree that when you work from home, your world gets smaller. I do. I think so. I think that it gets smaller because you're not walking on the streets or seeing other people, or you're not just bumping into people. You don't have any kind of vitality in your house that's similar to a work vitality with different cultures and diversity of people and backgrounds and thoughts and types, and it's more colorful. I don't want, there's extremes where people don't ever leave their house, especially, there's been a lot of documentaries in Japan where people literally don't leave their house for years or very much at all. They've given up on being in a family because they don't even want one. It's all video. So there's everything in between. I've also been practicing law for 40 years, and I live in New York, Hawaii, and Seattle. So for me, I'm not going to be in the office. But I wouldn't, even if there had been no pandemic. Like, that's a natural privilege of being able to be old.
Here's my question. Before the pandemic, even before that, let's say when I first met you, 2006.
Yeah.
If you had the technology to do it then, would you have wanted to do every deposition by video?
No.
Why?
Because I was told to, that it was really important. You needed to intimidate people in person or view them in person. There was a little bit lost, I will admit. What I noticed, because she was speaking in Mandarin and it was being translated. I do not speak Mandarin, but she also could speak some English, so it was in there. I was literally, when I went to talk, because I also questioned her for about an hour. I do what I normally do, like in trial. I'm super, I don't know what, she's speaking a foreign language and I am zoomed in on her and unblinking because I'm watching all of her movements. I'm feeling her energy. I'm sensing, all that.
Do you think that you would have been able to get that from a Zoom meeting?
Not as well, but still very well. Mm-hmm. Not as well.
And I guess my question is, you've done trials since the pandemic and had to do Zoom depositions and then see them live in the trial.
And I've done Zoom witnesses live.
Yeah, in the trial as well.
And live witnesses.
I guess when you get the chance to deal with them in a live setting, is it a negative that you hadn't done that during the deposition, or are you able to sort of slide back into it that way?
Oh yeah, it's no negative.
Yeah.
It doesn't impact at all.
Okay.
Yeah, to me, I can go on and on about the depositions and stuff that's like, I like the fact that courts have hearings by Zoom, because a lot of times you're waiting otherwise for hours and you're only going to talk to the judge for 5 minutes.
It used to be that you'd have to have the client there and you'd have to have everybody there while you guys just went through, kind of administrative parts of the trial.
Yeah.
So I think you're right in that one. Like, that kind of stuff should be.
But I would say this, and the pandemic fundamentally changed how the office was for the negative. I mean, we had social.
We still do.
It's still there.
Yeah.
I'm
not trying to say that like a negative, but it's just like that's everywhere.
Now it's different.
It's not just our office.
But it was pretty negative there for a little bit because people weren't talking to each other. People were emailing and texting and Teamsing each other. And even though we had Teams, very few people actually used Teams, the video feature of Teams.
It drew back. It's like high school where it pulled everybody back into their little cliques.
It really did.
And it was even worse because in a high school setting, those cliques still interacted with each other. But when it came to this, nobody was like, all of a sudden, everyone was in their bubbles, as they were calling it.
Haven't completely come out of it. We have a coach, and that helped a lot. And we're supposed to all be here on Wednesdays. Today's Wednesday.
Yeah, it doesn't always happen.
It doesn't always happen. Friday, there's very few people here. Monday.
Oh, the summer's been dead.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a few weeks there where it was just Shelley and I, pretty much, or maybe the interns. Jane was here sometimes.
Yeah, Jane.
But most of, a couple paralegals here and there during the week. But there were a few weeks there where it seemed like there were, we were turning on the lights upstairs almost for no reason.
Yeah. All right, Mo. Let us have
Well, I mean, what you described about your journey and adventure going into an in-person deposition, I could hear the violin playing in my ear. And I was just sort of like playing the violin, and I was just like playing it slowly as you were saying it.
He's insulting me.
And I was like playing that. But the thing I was thinking about immediately was like, I was like, I have had an experience just like that. I remember friends of mine said, meet us downtown and let's go grab something to eat. And I remember
here in New York,
here in the city, and I left and I went and took a bus downtown, and there was all of these people on there, and some were, had odors, some didn't, and it was really crowded, and I was sweating, and I got out of the bus, And I got out of the bus and I had to go find a place, find a restaurant. They couldn't find parking. It was just an utter mess. And then finally we got to the restaurant and the table wasn't, we didn't even have a table. We have to go find another restaurant. We had to walk in the crowd and the sidewalks, go find another restaurant. And we ended up spending about an hour and a half trying to find a place to eat. And then finally we found a place to eat and the food wasn't even really that good. And we hung out together and we went home. And I thought, all the resources and time we spent doing that, we could have Uber Eats'd it and sat at my house, and I could have gotten on my Zoom and them on their Zoom, and we could have just gotten the meal done like that. That's the fun. What you described as like annoying, I think is like, that's like forces you to like get involved and get connected
You don't
to the
sound
people.
like you had a lot of fun.
No, but I did. But like now, I do that. I won't do it. I'm like, this is like what I'm doing. Satire is what my story presents as satire example of what you're describing, and this is why I have the violin. But when you don't go to court, okay, why the hell do you have courts? It's the majesty of the court. It's going into the courtroom.
I still like to be in court
right?
in person, but for the good stuff.
Well, but there's no good bad stuff.
Yes,
when you force lawyers,
dispositive motions.
no, when you force lawyers into a courtroom, you force them to say, how much does this case matter that I'm going to take time out of my day to show up? You're making it so convenient for people to just sort of like from their bedrooms just to sort of hop on and dial it in. I just don't think, and then people are complaining about like heavily relying on AI and stuff, which is fine, but people want the convenience because they don't want to get up and do things. I think it promotes laziness. I think it promotes apathy. I think it promotes mediocrity. It takes the surprise out of the day. The fact that you went out and saw a piece of art that impressed you. Well, it impressed you enough to put it on your Instagram. And then, and at the same time, you know, there was a little, the deposition was spicy. Got in there, you were getting at each other. It was a little fun.
It's always going to be spicy with me.
Not on Zoom. It's not the same. There's like a break.
I've seen a few on Zoom that were spicy.
Well, okay.
Okay, I'll put the violin away.
Well, or whatever. I would say, you know, it wasn't maybe the last trial, but there's a trial that I did last year where the judge changed some of the dates and said, well, we're going to do the voir dire, selection of the jury, by Zoom. And we're going to do the pretrial conference on such and such a date.
Let me stop you right there. Is voir dire harder on Zoom?
Well, that's a whole topic.
So we're going to have to save that one for another one. I'm sorry.
It's a whole topic. The short answer is yes.
Yes.
Okay. But I've also come to like it.
Okay.
But I didn't at first. I couldn't figure it out. Like, how am I going to deal with this? It's
because it was foreign, right? It felt very weird.
It's a very different process, and you can't. You don't get to be in person with the people and sense them as well, and you can't. But most importantly is, it kind of destroys the group vibe, because when you're in person, you can all talk at the same time. On Zoom, they still haven't fixed technology, so it's only one person at a time. So you can't really kind of do it as more of a group.
Yeah, because in voir dire, you ask the whole group questions and like, here, everybody raise your hand for this question.
And then
then you kind of start to whittle it down to who you want to talk to.
They're talking
specific.
They're saying yes.
And they can't do that now. You got to ask like single questions directed at individuals.
Yeah. It's very hard.
But I was in Hawaii. I was looking at, I thought, I'm going to have to come home, 5 days or so early for trial. After the judge laid down the new rules, I said, I can do the first part in trial. So I did voir dire.
I mean, in Hawaii?
Yes. I just literally, I was wearing shorts.
I remember this.
You couldn't see my shorts.
No, but I remember you saying, I'm going to be in my shorts and I'm going to do voir dire.
I was in my
That's
shorts.
what you did.
I was in my shorts.
I was like, what?
And
Were you outside?
No, I was in my
kitchen.
in the house in the kitchen.
Okay.
And it was 3 hours early, so it was early, but that was okay. And I actually because I didn't decide to stay until after the judge said. So I actually went to, it's like, I need to have something to put on top of my T-shirts. So I went to, I can't remember, I think it was, down in Lahaina.
Yeah.
which is outside where I live, there's a Ross, Shop for Less. I went to the Ross, and I just picked up some things that I would never ever wear in real life, but they looked fine on a camera. They were kind of like a sweater jacket, which was also a little bit too warm, but I mean, yeah. So that's what I did. I had these. I had two of them. I had a pink one and a cream one, and I alternated them because they were going to always be different jury panels. And I had a great time picking that jury, no problem. But it took like 3 days.
Yeah, does it take longer now?
It takes way longer.
Yeah.
That's the negative.
Yeah. I mean, doing a voir dire in person is like putting on a school play.
Totally.
It is the funnest thing ever. Because just you get to meet the jury and they get to know you. I can't believe that's put on Zoom. Like,
I like it.
I don't like it at all.
Well, and I'm not obviously not an attorney, so I've never been on your side of it, but I've been through voir dire a couple times as a juror.
Yeah.
And it would be a lot. I mean, I haven't had to do it via Zoom. Both times it's been in person.
Yeah.
And I don't know, as a juror, it would be kind of weird because hearing other people's reactions to the questions isn't the same if everyone's going to get checked one at a time.
Yes.
It's different when you're all in a big group and then like one person admits to it and then suddenly another person does.
Well, you're still in a group. It's like 15 to 20 people at a time.
Yeah, but that's just, I'm saying, I feel like it would be different because each person's being directed at. So, and you can't tell me that those other jurors aren't there in their kitchen going, oh, okay, I'm going to walk and get a soda. Or
You also have a very detailed questionnaire that you fill out ahead of time.
that you've already gone through.
Yeah.
And that's even like what you're describing, being in physical proximity.
Yeah, I feel like you might get different answers.
Yeah.
Like you said, you've got a questionnaire that you fill out ahead of time. Then you sit down and they ask you certain questions because of what you said before. Where when I was in a big group of people and somebody said something else, I went, oh, wait a minute. Yeah. Oh, you remember stuff that maybe you weren't going to remember when they asked that specific question. And I'm not saying that's everybody, but some people seem to do that. People change their views in the middle of voir dire.
That's right.
I saw
By
that
hearing.
too.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that might be different. I feel like there's a disconnect to people being on camera where you guys as professionals being on camera, you understand you got to hold yourself some way. But I mean, come on, Karen. We saw one guy go to the bathroom one time.
That was
I mean,
there.
That wasn't a deposition, but
the reason I actually wrote letter saying we shouldn't do voir dire by Zoom. You know, when they were going to make the change permanent. But the reason that they made that change permanent is because they used to have about a 20% acceptance rate.
Oh yeah.
And now it's like 80.
Oh, I'm sure they get way more jurors now.
they get way more jurors.
It is not as time effective, but it also each trial is between, in cases that we do, it's normally around, minimum is 60 or 70 jurors to 150. Like Ducks, it was 700. They have to get parking. You got to marshal them around. They got to go.
You got to go hang out in a uncomfortable. I don't care how nice the jury room is. It's never fun to sit in there. It's because the one that I was in last time was at the top of the building. It was really nice. Had lots of room. You still feel like you're sitting and doing nothing, no matter how much you bring with you to.
And you get $10 a day.
Distract yourself, and you get paid almost nothing,
which is not even to cover your parking.
Yeah, and you can't find parking.
Well, there's that too.
I mean, or if you do, they're like, well, you can park across the street there, but there's a lot of crime, so you might want to make sure you don't leave anything in view and stuff like that. Like nobody wants to do that, and or you pay freaking $30-$40 for parking, and that's if you can find an indoor space. Like I drove around that parking lot there several times trying to find spots.
Yeah.
It's not a fun thing to do until you get into the trial.
Yeah.
Then it's interesting.
So they're weighing all that stuff, but I wish there had been Zoom earlier. When I think about how much time I spent in my car, how many miles I put on my car, I crisscross the state constantly. I was always in a plane going to this or that place. In fact, the same case with the city. Like, you'd think the city would budget watch. We got a continuance on this case. It's a bicycle case of traumatic brain injury, and he's getting treatment. He finished his first year, and then decided to try to do anything he could to try to get any better, and went. I don't know that this will work, but he went to this program in Florida, and his parents went with him. And the city's like, well, we want to go take his deposition in Florida. I'm like, well, we continued the trial, and this program is only for 2 more months. Why can't you wait? Why would they want to go and take depositions of people that are from Seattle?
Because it costs Florida a lot of money.
I'm just saying, it's abusive.
No, I know. Well, that's my point. Like, they're doing it as a ploy to mess with you.
Well, I thought that they just wanted to go on vacation because they're city attorneys.
Well, it could be that too. I don't know.
But, I mean, yes.
What time of year was it?
It's now.
It's
they
now?
just asked like about a week ago.
Florida's not that nice right now.
Why would they
really
want to go
hot
take depositions in Florida?
Well, I don't want to give you the strategic reason, because I don't want to say the strategic reason.
There's no strategic reason.
There is absolutely a very there is the strategic reason.
Lay it out.
What about? It's that, look, if somebody's getting treatment in another state, okay, for injuries that you're being sued for, I want to go to where they're getting treatment, and I want to see them in that environment, in that process, and ask them some questions about their injuries. I think that demonstrates a certain chutzpah to go there, and I think that it has strategic value. I don't think they want to go to Florida. I mean, they're in the what is that area? It's where
they don't know where they are.
It's the retirement frickin' area of Florida. It's
Clearwater.
Yeah, it's like it is hot, disgusting right now.
That's all.
They're not going for a
vacation.
vacation. These are not vacationers. These are not. You wouldn't.
I don't think that they have the mental prowess to come up with that strategy. I think they just want
Karen,
to get on a plane and go.
Karen, I think they do, but
we got 3 points of view. I think they're doing it messing with you. She thinks they want to go on vacation, and you think that
who
it's a master plan.
It's definitely not a master plan.
Who would want to go to Florida in August? Who the hell?
No,
I don't know.
Go to Florida in August.
They didn't want it set in August. They didn't want it set in August.
They wanted like August or September, but it's like
September.
Yeah, but who the hell would want to go? It is the worst time of year
September's
to go.
better.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still 100 degrees in the humidity.
No, it's true.
I don't think so. But I think that, like, I don't like your rule, Karen.
What rule? I don't have a rule.
All depositions have to be on Zoom. I'm gonna start to break that rule. I'm gonna start taking my depositions in person. These rules, these rabid rules.
Okay. I guess I feel like we've gotten to where we can say some things are better to be done on Zoom now. Some things are better in person. Getting back to the office thing, I mean, you went there with wasted space and real estate needing to be repurposed. I've thought that for a while.
Yeah.
But I also feel like, some positions, like my wife, she works in payroll.
Yeah.
When she was in the office, she spent all her time on the phone. When she's doing it now, she spends all her time on the phone. That doesn't matter where you are, really. I mean, she did interact with people a little bit more, but not that much. She was working on listening to people complain about their paychecks, stuff like that. And that's the same thing that she does now. What I do think is weird is she almost can't go into the office. Like, they still have an office, but they've adjusted it in that they have like a couple group desks. So you don't really have a workspace in the office. And it makes it difficult for her to be able to be effective in her job, where now she's got it set up at our house. She can do everything that she needs to from her setup there. But when she takes her laptop into work, like maybe somebody's taken the docking station, or it's not working, or there's people already at that thing, so you can't use that desk and you've got to find somewhere else to sit down. I think that we're, like many different things, we're in a big period of change that was caused by the pandemic and the technology that got pushed to make it possible for people to do the stuff that they do now, working from home. But figuring out how that works is still what's happening. I mean, like Karen said, we don't have, most of the time there's not that many people in the office.
Yeah.
I'd say down here, it's Shelley and I are here 5 days a week. So there's always somebody down here. But on the third floor, sometimes there's just you and Darcy for several hours.
For several hours. Well, you're the managing partner, and you've been a man.
Wait,
I want to ask.
I want to just add one more thing. We are also privileged.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Because when you talk to many people, they don't have a space in their house, and there's some people here that their space is not it's not a large space.
Yeah, yeah.
Or it's a temporary space. They got to set up in their kitchen or something like that.
And I have a thing where I don't want to have an office, although I had an extra area, so I did make that office area up there. And the office, when we built it, we asked people if they had input, and every staff member asked for their own office, because we used to have a couple that were shared. So our whole office is individual offices. We don't have any comment. We're the opposite of your wife's situation. So we are fairly privileged
people could be
environment.
coming into the office here.
Yeah.
It's just that, everyone, I think before the pandemic, there were people who wanted to work from home.
Well, we have some people that live an hour and a half away.
Yes, that live
without
far
traffic.
away. And that kind of made sense for some of them to work from home, even though there was pushback from the rest of the people who had to work in the office. But then when the pandemic happened, pretty much everybody left. We had a few people that were we had the receptionist and Ryan were here for a little while. Pretty much that were the only people here. Then I started coming in too. And then, after a year and a half or whatever, you guys had to start to figure out the plan for how things were going to work again. And people slowly started coming in. But I don't necessarily think that all of the people that are working from home should be working from home.
Habits are hard to break.
That's just my opinion. And it's not necessarily just because I do have to work in the office all the time. I think that some stuff has been lost because of that.
Yes.
Do you think that people? I know that there is cliques. Do you think that people rub along together better or worse in general?
Worse. And
why do you think so?
I think it has to do with the in-person interaction. It's easier to be
distant,
less caring, I guess I would say. I'm not trying to make it negative, but it's just apathy.
Apathy, yes.
I think that people don't, because you don't have the personal interaction as much now. And it's not that everyone was like, I don't have personal relationships with most people at work. It's just the person that I am.
Yeah.
But I think that interacting with people on a daily basis is good for everyone, myself included, no matter how much I don't want to be around them.
You're the managing partner. So what ideas do you have? What thoughts do you have about addressing what he's saying, which I agree. Everything he just said, I agree with Mike.
So I'm in a position of, when I started at the firm 21 years ago, being a lawyer for way longer, since I became a lawyer in 1985.
You started here in 2004?
Yes. And I was that person that was, so I also was a single parent. And so on the weeks that I had my kids, I would get in, whatever, sometime around 8, but I would leave.
Well, you lived pretty far from here too.
I did. I live in the Sammamish Plateau. Because of the traffic and because of when they were getting out of school, I needed to be able to get home by 3:30, 4. Like, I kept pushing it out a little bit. But yeah, my kids Noel was still in elementary school when I started working here. So and then I would keep working from home. But on the weeks when they weren't here, I ended up buying, I lived in Seattle, and I was pretty much here and here, always.
Well, for a while there, you lived literally next door.
My kids were not happy with me. I would, that was the first, I lived in an apartment where I would get up and walk through the parking lot.
Like half
to
a
the
block
office.
to the office.
No, it wasn't even half a block. It was like 100 feet.
Yeah.
My view was of the parking lot.
Which I will say has always been my dream, to be able to be that close to my work so I could just roll out of bed and be at work.
I could be there in 5 minutes. But I was there always. I would go for a run, come back, and then close up the office. I took showers at the office because there were showers there. I could go take a shower after I ran. But so I was that person, always in the office, always, for the whole time pretty much that we were in Seattle. And then we moved to this building, and I was still here quite a bit. It started changing, I think, after Ride the Ducks, which would have been in about 2018, because I was always in the office. That's about when it started to, change. And then, of course, the pandemic was in 2020. So that really changed. And then just, again, being older and living different places, I'm just gone more. But I got into, so on the one hand, I used to be of the mindset of, I need to set the example, lead by example. But I do believe that people need to be in the office, and I'm not leading by example.
Nope.
Nor should I be required to.
Yeah, I would say, when I first started
when
here,
you're 65, you get a pass.
when I first started here, the senior attorneys, they weren't here. Like that's something that's always been, doctors going to play golf or Brad going to play golf,
Well, because lawyers can have a really long career span into their 70s. In our case, we have some that are still working at 80.
And I would argue that you were also, you already said it, you were working at home. There's not a single attorney here that's not working when they go home.
Yeah.
Like, not because of the pandemic. They were doing that long before. You're doing writing, you're doing research, blah, blah, blah. You're doing stuff after hours.
Always.
So that's why it's okay for you to not be here some of the time. And for you specifically, to take it in the grand scheme of things, you've had some of the biggest cases from this firm. So really, you've funded all of us to work for quite a while. It's not, it's the amount of work that gets put in that I'm saying, where someone like me gets to clock out and not have to spend as much time worrying about what's going on at the office in my off hours. I get to go play guitar and have fun.
Yeah, but I do like people working in the office. I think it's more healthy. I think it's more fun. I do. I'm a big Teams person. I'm the biggest Teams user in the law firm. I just call people. I never say, "Are you available for a chat?" I don't. I just call everybody, cold call all the time. Everybody just gets used to calling me back, because if you're there, you'll pick up, and if you're not there, you won't. I don't care. I'm always going to default to calling you and just talking. But everybody doesn't do that. In fact, very few people do that. The organic nature of having, get-togethers, I like it. I think it's really good. I think the more that we're together, the more that we can be human. The more that we can be human, the more that living is good. We spend a lot of time working, and if for this firm with this amount of stress, we spend a lot of energy and angst, and we have this weight of responsibility on us all the time. I think it's really healthy to be able to work with other people and share all of that. And I don't like the cliques, but I'm in a clique. I'm in the partner clique.
Everybody's in one. That's the way it is usually.
I understand a lot of what you just said. I have a lot of disagreements with what you just said.
Okay, don't swallow it.
I won't swallow it. A couple of things. I think that a law firm that has people in the office.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
I know, but it will influence culture.
Agreed.
And it will influence sustainability.
Agreed.
Those are both. The other thing is that you have to lead by example as leaders, because if you want to be a leader, then the leader has got to be there. It's got to show up, and it's got to have skin in the game. And if the leader feels like, well, I've done my thing, and I'm gonna, I've put into work, I've put into labor, therefore now I get the spoils of war I shall enjoy. I get that. That's totally legitimate.
Well, you tell me this in 20 years.
Okay, well, I will, because I will tell you this in 20 years. Is that it is a
Could Roosevelt lead the country and tell people to get up and work when he was in a wheelchair?
Well, that's different.
It is not different.
It is different. All I'm saying is that there is a different culture when the leader is in there doing what they expect others to do. It just is a different culture, Karen. And sporting teams and I'm just saying, it's just a different culture. It is a totally different culture.
Are you telling me I need to retire?
No, I'm not telling you that you need to retire.
You are too.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you told me I should not be a leader.
No,
and I need to
he
retire.
said.
What am I saying, Mike? God, you always put words in my mouth. You always change what I say.
Make it too hard for me to speak. What he said was,
I feel insulted and attacked.
if a leader is not present, then it's difficult for them to be a leader. I'm saying in a very nice way.
But I'm omnipotent. I'm present, just not physically present.
Where I was going to say is that is correct. The difference in what you were implying, Mo, and what I observe is it used to be really hard to get in touch with the senior attorneys. When I was, back before, even with email, because email was around when I first started.
Yeah.
But a lot of those guys didn't know how to use a computer.
They dictated and had
they gave they were from the generation that everything went to their assistants.
Yeah.
And they didn't, they only did the law part of it. That was it.
Yeah.
It could, if one of them, like me as a guy running around the building doing stuff, if I needed them for something, I sent an email and hope that I get a response in a couple days, or I have to track them down. And like you said, they weren't always here.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they'd be there in the morning, but they'd be in a meeting. Yeah. So you couldn't bust into the meeting. Yeah. And then I'm off doing the rest of my job. And the next time that I try to get them, they're already gone for the day.
Yeah.
Or they're in a deposition, or they're in a mediation, or, all of the stuff that's part of their job would happen. Now, like Karen said, I do the same thing Karen does. If I want to get a hold of somebody really fast, I'll call them on Teams. And I know that it's ringing at their desk or on their phone or wherever. If they don't pick up, then I leave a message, or then I do a Teams message, which I know is going to hit them wherever they are. I get answers a lot quicker now. It's still not as fast as I would like, because I want everything to be immediate, but it's faster than it used to be, and that's why it's effective. And I think that a leader that's not physically present can still be a leader. But I do think, like I said before, I think that when it comes to, there's a feeling that you get when you're around people.
Yes.
There is in the workplace, especially in a place like this, for me, it's a team.
Yes.
You feel like a team. And when the team's not around, you can't feel like a team. You feel like you're left out. So I feel like the office, when more people are here on a regular basis, that we are more powerful.
Yeah, you are an excellent leader. It's just different when you're here.
Oh, don't try to make up for this.
I'm not.
Don't try.
You are.
The moment has passed.
Okay, wait. You know what? It's terrible.
You already said she was a bad leader.
Yeah, you're terrible. It's the worst. You're never around. You abandon us. You're gone for months.
Doing one in-person deposition. Come on.
And this is it.
He's like, I'm like, I'm leaving Joe's first birthday. I'm going to go see her.
Yeah.
Are you coming back before the holidays? So dramatic.
You mean like Christmas?
Yeah.
No, that's,
He's so
I do
dramatic.
this. She's like,
You're not going to be back until November.
Are you going? She's like, I got to go to Ipswich. I got to go see my daughter, my grandkid. I was like, okay, well, see you next year.
Yeah, he's such a baby.
I don't know. I wouldn't say he's the only one. Sometimes it does seem like people are disappearing.
Yes.
I would say that, in summary, there are very good things, and then there's not so good things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have at least 2 paralegals here that would not work here if they couldn't be remote because they live an hour and a half away without traffic.
Yeah.
There are.
Now, I would say when I first started here, that person wouldn't have a job.
No, they wouldn't.
You wouldn't have hired them, or if they moved away and were that far away, you would probably say, you're gonna have to move on.
Correct. That's right.
But now, because of technology, there's one person in particular that doesn't come into the office at all. Yeah. Actually, we've got another person that you just hired that's not working out of the office at all. Well, they're
contracts.
Right? Yeah.
They're contract paralegals. But they're, and that's helpful because of the ebb and flow of work, where you can do stuff like this. But I feel very honored to have been able to work in offices that were completely full. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was more fun. There was also shouting at various times and bad behavior.
We know. I myself had some of those interactions.
But there was. It was more vibrant. It was fun.
Teeming with life.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think it presents a challenge, and we've got new senior partners who are going to be, the next generation of leader that are preparing to cover for my shortcomings in terms of being present and stuff like that. But there's good and there's bad, and then there's everything in between. And I think that it's a real challenge to figure out, how can we keep making this better? How can we have a good working environment? Just because you're remote doesn't mean you stop having a good working environment. We just here's an example. We just decided, because Wednesday's our day, well, we're going to have a really good breakfast every Wednesday. It's going to start in September.
Love it.
And people aren't going to have to worry about bringing in a breakfast. It's going to be here. It's going to be healthy. It's going to be delicious. It's going to be fun. So just reminding people that, with our little tidbits, to enchant them to come into the office. There's a lot of good things that happen in the office.
And we're trying to do, you've been trying to combat it by doing activities too. And I think that next one that we have coming up is going to be pretty good.
Yeah, the
Forge.
We're going to make knives.
We went to the Mariners game and had a great time. And I do certain things in person. I do retreats. I've done them at my cabin, at my house, when we're getting ready to go into trial. Get the whole trial team. The one at the cabin, there was like 10 of us, because it was the BLM trial we were getting ready for before it settled. But we have these mini retreats now for regular trials. That one was a 2-day retreat, and those are in person, and they are very engaging, and they're very good because they are really team. My purpose is team building. We're all together, and we're creating this plan. We're looking at what are the pros and the cons. We have the big yellow sticky. We don't have anything really tech.
Yeah.
We have the big yellow sticky sheets, and we line it with all of our ideas.
That's right.
And
see,
it's brainstorming, and everybody is involved, and people love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's times and places, but on a sustained basis, Mo, I'm going to just continue to be a worse and worse leader.
Oh my God, you're so dramatic.
Okay.
Well, that's all for today.
Until next time.